Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a single song reaction that we're doing here on the channel. This is sort of an impromptu recording session that Chris and I are doing because there's a couple things that have been released recently that I thought we could do some reactions to. And so the first thing we're going to be recording today is a new Powerman 5000 single. Woo! So for those of you who know, who have been watching the channel for a while, you may be aware, maybe not, that Powerman 5000 is a band I reference all the time on the channel. When we're doing Metallica videos and things like that, and Chris Schoenberg's here, he usually poo-poos Powerman 5000 and Rob Zombie and things like that. But
Which is such a shame, honestly, for him, because he's missed it out on the real goods.
Yeah, and he likes, I mean, he likes what he likes, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that, but, you know, and I do currently have 2 Powerman 5000 records on the wall. Right here I have Tonight the Stars Revolt, and you really can't see it from here, but I've got...
That Lights album is crooked, and it has been for several videos now.
Yeah, whatever. Mega Kung Fu Radio.
Oh, yeah. That album that...
I always say is one of their best ones, and you always say is not.
What I usually probably say is, oh, I've never heard of it.
Right.
Because I cannot keep it in my mind.
Yeah, it's definitely... It's really... Hold on, for goodness sake.
This has gone wrong, hasn't it?
Is that better?
That's the stuff.
Yeah, if anyone's watching this, you're unfamiliar with Powerman 5000, you probably know their big single, When Worlds Collide, from back in the late 90s, early 2000s. That's, are you ready to go? Cause I'm ready
Bombshell.
to go. What you gonna do, baby? And Bombshell.
I feel like they're equally popular.
Oh, I don't think so. I think Worlds Collide was way more popular than that. Bombshell was big, though, and it was used in several big, like I think it was in a trailer, and for people who, like me, grew up in WWE, Bombshell was actually the intro song for the Dudley Boys for a long time. They're like, Dudley Boys, hugely popular tag team, Chris, and they would, their entrance would start with like two fireworks shooting down over the audience's head towards the stage, and then when it hit the stage, their music would go, and then they had a song from their ECW days, which was just kind of like a generic rock song. It's a cool song, but then they switched over when WWE was kind of in the middle of like every major WWE superstar for a while. There had like a song that was done by a popular like nu metal band at the time, because they released compilations and stuff like that of music, and they would have bands like Disturbed and Marilyn Manson and stuff like record versions of wrestlers' theme songs and all this stuff. It's really fascinating. But Powerman 5000 made a deal with WWE to do, they used Bombshell for the Dudley's theme song, and then actually in SmackDown vs. Raw 2007, I believe it was, which is one of the video games that Ukes used to put out. Back in the day for WWE, they annually released a video game, and SmackDown vs. Raw 2007 actually has 3 exclusive Powerman 5000 songs that you can only find on that soundtrack of that game.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's actually really cool, and the way that
Are they any good?
Yeah, they're sort of similar to like this. I would equate them to a cross between. Do you remember the album that they released after Transform? Probably not, because it's like one of their most forgettable albums. It had like...
Which is saying something.
Yeah, it had Heroes and Villains on it, but I think there was only a live version of that on the album because the actual version of that song was licensed to WWE. So.
Oh, that sucks. That's interesting, yeah. Oh, you're gone.
Can't even make it 5 minutes without losing you.
I mean, that hasn't happened in a while either, so that's annoying.
That's true. That is true. Okay, so anyway, we're getting to... Oh, now my computer's going to be like, oh, we're lagging like an SOB over here. You don't have any clue what's going on. It was all fine before that, so maybe it's my computer's fault that I keep losing you.
So now the only thing I can think of is Bombshell. What was the other one that was real popular?
When Worlds Collide?
Yeah, wow, yeah.
Yeah.
Which of those two do you like better?
Of those 2 songs? Ooh, that's really tough. That is really tough. I've never thought of that. I've never.
I thought
actually
your answer would be immediate. I was really surprised.
That's
that.
tough because Bombshell technically was never released on an album. It was only ever released on compilations. Because
that's crazy. That's
the
true.
album that Bombshell was on was Anyone for Doomsday, which was scheduled for release on August 28th, 2001. And they weren't feeling good about it, so they delayed it. And then 2 weeks later was September 11th, and then they canceled that album entirely. And I believe to this day it is the closest a major record label's album has come to being released and then getting canceled, like 11th hour cancellation. I mean, it was in stores, like not in stores, but like it was in back rooms of stores.
Wow.
And they were instructed to destroy all copies and all this stuff and everything. It was crazy.
So theoretically, somebody could have an actual retail version of that.
Yeah, there are a few copies. You if you had about $250, you could buy a copy online.
That's crazy, man.
Which is something of every rare CD out there in the whole world. There's a couple things that I really want. Powerman 5000, Anyone for Doomsday, definitely is one of them. Which I will say, and to this day, it's one of my biggest regrets. But that was 2001, so we're talking basically before everyone had access to the internet. We were still in high school at the time and all this. But a few years later, they reacquired the rights to it. So we're talking now probably like 2005-ish. Powerman 5000 reacquired the rights to those songs, and they had like a 2-week period where you could go on their website, sign up on their website, and order a copy of the CD from them because they just had boxes of them laying around. Wow. And I didn't know how to order stuff online at that point. I just didn't know. And I was uncomfortable. I didn't have a credit card or a debit card or anything like that. I had no way to purchase anything like that, which up to that point, the very few things that I had bought online, I had my aunt purchase for me because she had a credit card. So anyway, there are copies floating around. That, and also I look for it online. It's like $2,000 now. The Silent Hill Sounds box. It's like,
oh man,
it's a 10 CD collection of every Silent Hill soundtrack in a box, like this awesome looking box. It's like $2,000. Never will I ever be able to have that. Also, the Grand Theft Auto Vice City official soundtrack box set of all 8 of the discs of the different radio stations from Grand Theft Auto Vice City.
Amazing. Wow.
Would love to get that someday. My cousin actually found a copy of that once for $20 at a garage sale, and I wanted to just take him and strangle him. And then
he didn't get it?
And he did buy it. He has it. He owns it to this day.
What a monster.
Yeah, when he dies, I'll go get it from him, I think, probably. But more likely than not, I will probably die first. So he'll get to come through my cool stuff and get my cool stuff. But anyway, so one of the ideas I had at the beginning of this video that we could do, and kind of I think one of the reasons Chris and I are talking about this a little bit, is that we haven't looked yet. I didn't gather any files or anything for these reactions. So what we're going to do is we're going to just basically be listening to the song off of Spotify here in a minute. And so we haven't gone to the Powerman 5000 page yet on Spotify. And I wanted us to just kind of guess what their most popular songs were. So we kind of got into this a little bit. So do you want to make some guesses first? Or, I mean, I think I probably know maybe a little bit more about their whole catalog than you do. I think
so too, yeah.
But you're definitely there. I mean, you are a big fan of them as well. So
right.
I
think, obviously Bombshell's going to be on there. I think you're right. Worlds Collide will be more popular. I think it'll, even just by virtue of what you said about how it doesn't exist anywhere.
Yeah.
I think one of their more recent songs, the black one, black
lipstick.
That's the one, Black Lipstick.
Okay,
I was thinking Black Fingernails, and I was like, man, it's interesting, the connections.
Oh, because that's the lyric in the song.
That's the lyric in the other. That's the lyric for V is for Vampire.
Oh, you're right. Yep.
Yeah, and something off of that album, I think, V is for Vampire maybe would be way up there, and it's like, okay,
or Supervillain. Supervillain was their bigger song off that album, I think, more so than V is for Vampire.
Okay.
However, they did.
And this is interesting for me because I don't, historically, I have always, all of the music that I interact with and listen to is 100% in my own control. I have never listened to the radio.
Right.
If I'm going to listen to music, it will only be what I want to listen to and under my supervision effectively. So it's like knowing what's popular is usually going to be based, unless it's like it seeps out into the zeitgeist where it's something I can't possibly avoid, like, you know, having something be like a WWE intro song, for example. Yeah. Not that I've ever overlapped with that, but it's where it's like it's in soundtracks, it's in commercials, like stuff like that, where it's like, well, this is clearly an enormously popular thing.
But otherwise, John Cena's song, right? The like
and
that.
I don't have any idea what that song is, but I know it.
But yeah, for sure.
Yeah, especially because it's like now it's in memes and stuff.
Yeah,
so
all over the place.
And having my Powerman 5000 interactions not be especially recent, like Somewhere on the Other Side of Nowhere is like from 2009. And like that's,
I know, which is crazy.
Which is
because that's what I consider to be their last like really good album.
Me too. And so it's like, I haven't kept up to date with them since streaming was a thing, which is already a bananas thing to say. But I also don't think that I would put anything more recent than Black Lipstick on anybody's list in terms of what would be expected to be the most popular songs. I guess ultimately, without having named, I guess in terms of trying to decide which of us is going to be more correct, I suppose I should put them in some sort of order. But I've already named like 5 songs, so I'll just say them, I guess, in that order. I think Tonight...
It is a song, but it was never one of their big ones.
The song? Is that a song?
It is a song, but it was never one of their big ones.
Okay. And that's another one. So it's like now I'm just thinking about songs that I like.
Actually, the song Tonight, there is no song Tonight the Stars Revolt, but that is a lyric in their song Supernova Goes Pop.
Oh, that's, yes.
Which is a big one that...
yeah, Supernova's on the list for sure. And those are all 3 from the same album, right? Well, I guess Bombshell's not. But
Bombshell's not, but Supernova, Worlds Collide, and then they had another big song off of Tonight the Stars Revolt, which was Nobody's Real.
Damn, that is on there as well.
I think you're probably right. I think most people think of Tonight the Stars Revolt when they think of Powerman 5000. So absolutely. I would be shocked if Nobody's Real and Worlds Collide aren't on the list. I mean, Worlds Collide is the number 1 song. I guarantee.
Is it really?
I guarantee. I'm not looking.
Okay.
But I'm just saying I guarantee it's
No,
number
yeah,
1.
I agree. You're right.
I think you're right, though. Number 2 is going to be Bombshell, I think. It's been in enough pop culture stuff that I think that it made it into the zeitgeist enough at the time. And it was supposed to be the follow-up to When Worlds Collide album. So, like, people were really looking forward to it. There was all this... I mean, it was a big deal. And then the fact that they canceled that album and everything.
It is crazy that they canceled the album. Like,
yeah.
Why not push it out a year? Like, you've got it. It's done. It's going to make money regardless of what happens.
I think
it's crazy that it's like, go destroy every copy of this. It's bananas to me.
I think that they didn't want to get pigeonholed into the space band. Because they really pivoted.
They're always been the space band.
No, they pivoted away from that quite a bit with Transform. They didn't have it really. I mean, they had some lyrics on there that were like, "I'm not a spaceman, but on the other hand, I never really did fit in this world." Like that's the first line from Transform.
That song is so good.
The album. So like, it is that I think I fight over whether Transform or Mega Kung Fu Radio is their best album. I fight with myself all the time. I think both those.
I'm forgetting how much of their catalog I'm actually familiar with. You just keep bringing up.
Yeah, well, that's good.
That.
See, in their most recent album from 2 years ago. I think 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago.
That's the silver one with the half face on the cover?
No, that's their 3 albums ago.
3?
I think so. Yes, because there was, that's Builders of the Future is what you're thinking of.
Okay.
And Builders of the Future was not a good, I think that's probably their weakest album.
Yeah, that was not good.
And then they had New Wave, which had Sid Vicious in a Dress.
As a song?
Yes, that was their single off that one. And I think...
Black Lipstick, the most recent album then?
Black Lipstick, I think, was their single off of... oh, God, I just had it. Don't look it up. I just had it. I have the CD sitting upstairs. I was literally just thinking of it in my head while we were going through all of this. The Noble Rot, it's called. The Noble Rot is what that album's called.
I think some part of me wants to say that it's the Noble Riot, but then I am remembering that...
You know what? Maybe you're right. I think you might be right. It might be the Noble Riot.
Well, because I was just going to say, I feel like I've got a memory of constantly reading it as Riot and having it be Rot.
And see, now I was thinking the opposite of where I always thought it was the Noble Rot, but it's Noble Riot. Okay, well,
very
we'll see
good.
when we look. Okay, so okay, so I just want to say, I think the songs they're going to be, I think it's going to be Worlds Collide, Bombshell, Free, which was their big song from 2003, then, their next album they actually released. They had a big music video for that one. They really pushed it. Living so free is a tragedy. If you can't be what you want to be.
Yep, man.
And
I know them all.
Yeah,
Just secret favorite band.
I know, right? And the other song that was off that album that had a single was Action, which is, we're gonna need some action. We're gonna need some action soon to get the world out of ordinary madness. It's all the
Excellent
same
song.
now. It's nothing
Reminds
new.
me of Firewater, actually, in an interesting way.
A lot of good stuff. Again, I love that album. Then their follow up to that one is the one that is boring. I think that's the one is like, we're in the city of the dead. Ain't nothing pretty when you have lost your head. The only good song on that album. The only good song on that album is the last song, and it's an acoustic country song, and it's "You Might Miss America When It's Gone."
Oh,
You might miss America. It's great. I love it. It's like one of my favorite Power that songs. Then they had a big break, and then they released Somewhere on the Other Side of Nowhere, which I think
top album.
You're right. I think Supervillain will be on the list.
That album is so good.
It's short. That's the only thing you can complain about is that it's short, but it's really good.
It's the vibe that album has by virtue of like all of the sampling that they did. Mm-hmm. It's super effective.
Yeah,
like because the songs don't really fit. They're just Powerman songs. They sound like every other Powerman songs. So they're not building a specific vibe, but the way that they cook those samples in, it's like this. It's just that 50s B-movie sci-fi vibe that is so cool. I love that about that album.
And they hadn't been doing that for quite a while before that album. So their two albums before that didn't have really any of that. They had a little bit, but not too much. And so, then they had Builders of the Future, which is the one that I complain about all the time, where every song only has two sections, a verse and a chorus, and every single song is just verse, chorus, done. Every song feels incomplete and just blech. There's a couple of really good songs on there. And then, like I said, it was New Wave, which had some interesting electronic stuff on it. And then Noble Rot, which I think is probably their best album of these three most recent ones. And I'm hoping whatever they got cooking up for this song or this new album coming out this year, that this is their best stuff they've released in years. Now, we'll say for those of you who are watching, you don't know, the reason all of these albums that we've been mentioning all sound so different is because there's really only one guy in Powerman 5000 that's left from Powerman 5000, and that's Spider.
Really?
Rob Zombie's brother. And so every time they get together to do a new album, it's just kind of different guys making a Powerman 5000 album. And then Spider just kind of like, he's got his ideas for what he wants certain things to be, but he himself, as far as I know, doesn't do any of the electronic stuff, doesn't do any guitar, doesn't do any songwriting, really. He does all of the lyrics, and I believe all that stuff is done kind of after the fact. He's definitely there during the creation process of the music and everything as well, but I think for him it's more of a come in after the fact thing, and he just gathers a group of people together that he trusts to make a Powerman 5000 album. And so that's why each one of their albums is slightly different. It has different vibes to it. And I think it's pretty cool. I think, of all the vocalists of all time, Spider is one of my absolute favorites. I think his voice is just so great. And
it's super cool. And and the music they make fits it. It's the perfect marriage, really, of music style and vocal style.
And his voice has always sounded perfect on every album. Perfect volume. He never hides anything. He's great with vocal overdubbing, layering, harmonies, all these things, using his voice to the fullest extent. He's a very good rapper, which is something that shocks people, but their first two albums are basically like hip-hop funk albums, which are amazing. And so I think the songs that are going to be on the list, When Worlds Collide, Bombshell, Nobody's Real, Free, not Heroes and Villain, Supervillain, maybe V is for Vampire. Those are the songs I mentioned. Okay, so let's look up Powerman 5000. Mm-hmm. You're going to get there way before me because my computer is
that's a pretty
slow.
Stacked list. What is that? Why is that there?
Okay, When Worlds Collide 124 million plays on Spotify. Less than 3
Which
minutes
seems
long.
low.
I guess compared to like the huge numbers we see sometimes, but Powerman 5000 hasn't really been a relevant band for 15 years, So
Yeah.
it's like, it's unfortunate, but like their songs don't get really played on the radio or anything, even whatever. It's just people like us that enjoy this band that go and see them when they tour with whatever. Like I saw they're touring actually the United States this summer, and they're touring with Tantric and a couple other bands whose names I remembered kind of, but I didn't know any of them enough to like be like, oh, those are bands like maybe Saliva, maybe, but all bands of like that were popular when we were in high school.
These are definitely not in order necessarily.
Mine are listed in order.
Order by what?
By popularity.
Well, because number 6 is like has millions of fewer listens than number 7 and number 8.
Oh,
and
I
number
see
8
that.
has more listens than number 7, for example. So I don't know.
Oh yeah, what is that 1999 song? I don't even know what that is.
I have no idea. Apparently nobody does because it has 95,000 listens.
But the top 5, maybe it's a new thing. But the top 5 songs, according to this, which as I'm looking are
4 and 3 are switched. They need to be in the opposite.
Oh, yep, you're right. Okay, so When Worlds Collide, Bombshell, Free, then Supernova Goes Pop, and then
surprise.
And then Nobody's Real. Which Supernova Goes Pop, I guess it makes sense.
I would just expect Supernova to actually be above Free, but
yeah, which maybe that's what they wanted to, so that's what they. But I thought Nobody's Real was a much bigger song than Supernova Goes Pop. Supernova Goes Pop had a music video to it, but it wasn't as nearly as played on like MTV and stuff as Nobody's Real was. So that's interesting.
And then number 8, How to Be Human, has like 7.5 million, which is basically the number 6 spot. And
that had to have been a
gas leak year.
No, I'm shocked that has so many plays on it. Like that has to be. Oh, it looks like there is Tonight the Stars. Oh yeah, because Tonight the Stars ring. Boom boom da boom boom da boom boom da. Hey God, to tomorrow because tonight the stars ring. Sorry, I didn't think there was a song called Tonight the Stars Revolt, and there is. I was getting that mixed up with Supernova Goes Pop. Dancing Like We're Dead is the new one. So that's the one we're going to listen to. It does have explicit lyrics, and there's 42,000 listens on it already, so good job, everybody. How to Be a Human, though, from Builders of the Future, that is shocking to me.
It is.
What is this 1999 thing? I'm clicking on this. What is this? It's actually it's from 2024. What the heck?
Oh, really?
They have...
Okay.
They must have two
singles.
Well, let's go. We can listen to 2 songs.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Well, do you want to start with this 1999 one?
Yeah.
All right, let's do that. Shoot, that's crazy. Okay, so this is 3 minutes and 18 seconds, 95,000 plays on this. Are you ready to go?
I am.
All right, I'm going to count down from... There's going to be a slight delay, but it doesn't matter. Okay.
3... I'll try to anticipate it.
For me, just... Yeah, wait until count to 5 instead of...
That's what I'm saying. We'll get to 1 and then I'll maybe take
2 or 3 seconds after
blink
that,
or something.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. Okay, start. Okay.
Appropriate for Powerman is Mountain Dew.
The shrine, back to the future in 1999, in 1999. In 1999.
Ooh.
That was cool.
Do you remember?
Which 1999 is the year that Tonight the Stars Revolt came out.
Okay.
Hair, follow the pattern, dead by design. Let's fall apart. In 1999, in 1999. In 1999.
Interesting.
Tell me what you want.
Interesting.
Tell me what you want.
Those things all exist in different spots,
Tell me what you want.
like space-wise. Interesting.
In 1999.
So I think that's a Spice Girls reference.
It definitely could be.
1999. Tell me what you want, what you really want. Tell me what you want, what you really want. Tell me what you want, what you really want. In 1999. Let's go. In 1999.
Cool.
Okay. Interesting.
You know, the last thing that we recorded, we were talking about at what point does it seem like a band is past making their best work? Where it's like, this is, it's just not going to happen going forward. And I feel like something that seems to be true about Powerman over the last several albums is like, the energy is not really there.
Yeah, I think what they're doing now is they're basically just making songs that are fun for them to play live. Like, that to me seems to kind of be the goal of what they're doing. And it's just like, pretty much every song is just, I mean, maybe this next song will just blow us out of the water,
Absolutely.
maybe. But like, yeah, that to me very much felt like a song off of their like Builders of the Future album that I said earlier was boring. For the like, that was basically like one thing the whole time.
Yeah.
And then when it got to the chorus, like some extra drums came in and like, but it was pretty much the exact same thing that had been happening, just with a little bit more guitars and stuff in there. And that's not an uncommon thing for Powerman 5000 to do on their last like 4 albums. So,
Yeah.
I think
And it's
that's
weird because like their 3, like their biggest songs, like Worlds Collide, Bombshell, Supernova, like those, as far as you and I are concerned, I think it's safe to say, are just about as heavy as it gets in terms of like, they're just a pillar of fire, just such heavy songs, even though they're not particularly fast. They're just heavy, which is,
still dancey though.
yeah, absolutely.
All of those.
And
yeah.
One of the things that seems like metal bands that have speed as part of what they do, as you get older, they slow down because that's what happens as you get older. One of the beautiful things about this type of music is that it was never that fast to begin with. So there's no reason necessarily why age should play a part in why things feel like they're losing energy. And so it's not as easy, I'd say. It's not as easy to figure out why
give
they're
an
doing,
excuse like that.
why the direction.
I think one thing to keep in mind with this is like, for a band like this, I think the reason they're still a band is because Spider likes to go out and perform. Like I said, I mean, he's like directed things, like he does all sorts of animation stuff. He's like a horror movie aficionado. He does all sorts of really cool things outside of just being in Powerman 5000.
Good.
And so like, he doesn't necessarily have to do this if he didn't want to anymore, though I'm really glad they choose to do so. But like, if you think about a band that's been around as long as them, and really the thing that's like your absolute top priority is like, what are we going to play when we go out on stage every night? Like, you're going to play Bombshell, Worlds Collide, Nobody's Real, Free, Supervillain, V is for Vampire. they don't need to make any more songs like those. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm just saying, I think for me personally, that's the absolute wrong way to look at it. but I could, like, to me, I feel like I wish that they, I mean, maybe I'm totally wrong, but to me, it kind of feels like the albums are taking a back seat to them. Just, we have to push out an album to have an excuse to go on tour again, which I do feel like, you know, like, I feel like Somewhere on the Other Side of Nowhere felt like very inspired. Like, the guys who made the music and Spider were just like firing on all cylinders. It felt like there was just a little bit of extra like effort put into it. And then Builders of the Future was just like a puke out of a record, like just puked out a record. Then I think they probably felt that. And I think with New Wave, they put a little bit more effort into it. And I like that album, but I think one of the reasons it's not one of my favorites of theirs is the influences that they're pulling from for that are from that. The influences that they're using for their music on that album are very different than the influences that they were using on their earlier material that I like Rob Zombie, for example. Like, I like the Powerman 5000 stuff that sounds like a Rob Zombie record, whereas like if like they have that Sid Vicious in a Dress song, like they have songs that are like very much influenced by like Billy Idol and like other 80s music, and all of their albums now have like faster punky pop influence stuff on them. And like, that's not necessarily stuff that appeals to me, but that's the stuff that probably appeals to them more, you know? And a lot of it depends on who Spider has in the band at the time, you know, because when that album, I keep forgetting what it was called, but the album after Transform came out, the one that I keep saying is one of their more boring ones, the guitarist they had in the band at that time was the guy from Alien Ant Farm. And like, when you listen to the album, it's like, oh, this kind of just sounds like Alien Ant Farm with Spider singing, you know, like, it makes sense. Then they got together and did Somewhere on the Other Side of Nowhere, and you could tell that the dudes who made that were into electronic music, into guitar solos, into sci-fi, into all these cool things, and it kind of just seems like they're picking and choosing which albums they want to feel inspired and what they're using as inspiration to pull from. And like, that song to me felt very uninspired.
Yes.
But maybe that's like the first track. Maybe that's like the intro or something.
Right.
And like, when it first started, I was like, oh, this is interesting, because it sounds like the lyrics are talking like, remember back in the day when we were like important and all this stuff.
Yeah.
But then the more you listen to the song, it's more like maybe he's actually just referencing the time period so much and not necessarily just their popularity. And I was there. 1999 was awesome because everyone thought the world was going to end in Y2K and stuff. Like, it was awesome. It was like a really cool time period to be around, you know?
It was. All the movies from 99 were like just out of control. And it was like the last couple of great years before everything turned south. But
yes.
And
sure.
I wonder too, there's like, do you know anything about their record label?
Well, they haven't been on a record label for a long time.
Okay, because one thing I was going to say
it's
is
just
like
Spider's own record label.
that makes sense. I was going to say, just thinking about like if they were on a record label, there might be a certain type of thing where it's like, if you want to stay on this record label, then we need
you have to release
like a
albums
number of
every so
albums a
many
year
years.
or whatever. And so then you get caught up making stuff even though you don't have anything left to pull from. And then you get
I don't think
mess,
that's it. In this case with them, I think
agree.
it's more of just honestly, like, I think it's more of a like, I'm getting ready to tour now. Like, Spider probably at this point is in his upper 40s, I would guess.
Oh yeah.
Hey Google, how old is Spider 1? If she knows, I'll be shocked.
He's 55 years old.
55? No.
Yeah, I was going to say, well, I mean, look, man, it's been almost 30 years since
I guess.
came out.
Yeah, shoot, that's crazy. So he's probably thinking like, I can only go out and be like a rockin' front man for another, however many years. So like, let's just poop out another album so we can go on tour and play Worlds Collide and all this stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
even it is like, if that is any consideration at all, the energy necessary, like I said, even with something like Supernova being heavy without being fast, like, you don't go on stage and stand around while the heaviest song.
Oh no! And have you ever seen Powerman live?
I have never, and I would have loved to do that.
Well, you should try to see. There's no way they're not going to be in Seattle this summer. You should absolutely try to see them if you can. But for them, it's all about like the light show and stuff. They'll have
Which is so great.
like they wear everyone other than Spider wears costumes just full of like neon lights and glowy parts and stuff.
Awesome.
And masks that when I saw them, which is like probably like 10 years ago at this point, they had all this glowy stuff on them, plus these big masks with screens on them that would change like what was on the screen, like, and words and stuff would pop up and everything. And that was 10 years ago. Nowadays they could have a whole body just full of like a whole body suit made of LED lights, you know?
You should see Muse sometime before you can't anymore.
Okay, let's listen to this other song.
Yeah.
Dancing Like We're Dead. This just came out, I believe, last week or earlier this week even. I'm not even sure.
Nice.
Very, very recently. You got it up?
Yep.
All right, let's just give her a listen. Okay, so this is Dancing Like We're Dead in 3, 2, 1. And mine is playing. Okay. I'm hoping this one's a little bit more giddy up and go.
Because he's not doing the big vocals anymore either.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right.
Little droney, which is kind of neat.
Little Rob Zombie.
Check up, time for you, lobotomy. Everybody gather round and pray to win the lottery. Life ain't alive anymore, but we still acting up like it's 1984. Now we're dancing. Now we're dancing.
Great sounding kick.
Yeah.
Now we're dancing.
His very Billy Idol version of himself.
Yes. Yes. And I don't really know very much about Billy Idol's music, but yes.
Same.
Huge influence on Spider. We need a big chorus here coming up.
Yeah.
Probably with some haze and, you know?
I'd kill for a Powerman Hey.
Okay, they didn't. They went, okay. Also, I want a guitar solo, damn it. I think this is the chorus.
I think you're right.
It's so Powerman 5000, though.
It is. I have a thought.
Okay. Love those sweeping synths.
Yes.
Hey,
There we go. Very Static X. That bridge there.
Yeah. I hate that you equate everything to Static X now. You're kind of like ruining everything for me.
Equating it to another band you love is making it worse somehow.
Powerman 5000 is like leagues above Static X.
Yeah.
I like this. It's growing on me. Ooh, cool. Boom, boom, boom. Huh. Hey, I like that.
Yeah, that wasn't bad.
I'm a fan of that. That's cool. I like that.
I was going to say,
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
so many of these songs, this one a little bit less so, but still very much for the most part, they feel like the part of Powerman songs before that lead up to the boomy chorus with the super heavy things with the big gang vocals, and like they have the valleys, but then they go up for the peaks later in the songs. But these are they kind of just hang out down here, and every time it feels like you're finally getting to the place you want to go, they don't get there. They just like, and now we're cruising again.
Yeah. And honestly, like that's kind of what they've been doing for the last two albums. And I think that that's the more like new wave era style of music that they're using, pulling from their influence. That's kind of what I meant with like, I think they're like less new metal-y now and more like dancey, electronic-y, like keep the song more consistently dynamic
But it's
throughout
tough
the song.
because it feels like they're still trying to be Powerman, and I don't know.
Well, I think that's because they have to have enough of it in there so that the songs work live in their set. You know
I
what
don't
I
know
mean?
how much they care about the fact that they do live. I think that
really-
is. I think what you're saying is more akin to what I have said before about like that's just what Powerman sounds like. You know,
Yeah.
like there's got to be an identity in there somewhere. I don't know. It's tough. It's not a bad song. That's fine, but it doesn't like. That's not the kind of song I think I really want to hear that again. Start it over.
Yeah.
You know?
I liked it a lot more than the 1999 one.
I agree. Yes, that one was just
Yeah. So I don't know.
Anne's song.
I don't know. Well, it's interesting. To me, they kind of release a mediocre album and then they release a better album and then a mediocre album and then a better album. And I think that their last album, which did we ever look if it was? Can you look if it's
It is
Noble
Rot.
or Noble Riot?
You
Noble
win.
Rot. Okay, I think that one is pretty good. It was surprising to me how much I liked it. Although honestly, I thought New Wave was pretty good as well. I don't know. Whatever. There's no pattern. There's no rhyme or reason. It's just yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just happy we're getting some stuff. I'm happy they're still out there doing their thing. If
Yeah, and I'm not trying to be too down on them. Like,
No,
of
no,
course, I'm thrilled
yeah.
that they're still making stuff, Power Man forever. But it is just that's the Power Man that I love. That keeps me going back to them is much more that older style, like super high energy,
Yeah.
or even vibe. Like some
Yeah.
Other Side of Nowhere has such a vibe, and this may end up with one. But I feel like the vibe has kind of been missing from their stuff too. It just feels
Yeah,
like music.
I would agree with that. I think it's definitely they're leaning towards more of a dancey feel. I mean, I think they're really just. If you look at their music, the last few albums, I really feel like they're just trying to
Great.
go for more of an electronic dance feel. It's like just straight up what they're doing, and so they have those crunchy electric guitars, but there's no moment where like it's crash cymbals, everything's huge. They're just using the guitars as like these big massive things on the side. They're just doing their little like like type things, and in a way that is unique within itself because there's not a lot of bands that do that without having those big sections in the songs. Because if you're a guitar player, you don't want to just do that and not have the release of those giant sections. So,
And another thing too is like to make stuff that is especially dancey and electronic, they're still doing it primarily with instruments and not just electronic elements. Like, if they were to make a techno song, just like straight up EDM, four on the floor,
yeah.
whatever, they would probably still do it with instruments. And what other band is like that? Inner Party System was the only band that ever played
Yeah,
anything.
kind of. I mean, none of the drums we just heard at all in either of those songs is a real drum at all. Like nothing even coming close. I don't think anyone touched a drum kit, fake electronic, real nothing. Those were just programmed in with a mouse, the same way. I
Fair,
make my
but
music.
like they were probably.
But they were
written by a
made,
drummer.
yes, and they were made to sound like a rock drum kit. So like they're going for, yes, for sure, they're going for
which
that
is
rock
different.
drum sound. But yeah, they have definitely Powerman 5000 has songs where they're just like, no, this is an electronic song now, and that goes all the way back to, Anyone for Doomsday has.
And there was a moment in this where he hit the old style vocal with like, the gruff yelling kind of style that he does. Like,
Yeah.
Just thinking of Worlds Collide, Son of X51, like that specific thing. And that that was obviously missing entirely from 99. And I don't know how often it happens anymore, but I feel like that's part of the subdued vibe of their stuff. That he's just kind of like
not having that in it.
which is the thing he does, and it's very essentially them, but you can't just do that, right?
Yeah. Yes, I agree with that. I think, yeah, I would love it if they were just like, we're going to make a super heavy album.
And then we're never gonna
like
make
just
music
all of a
again.
sudden out of nowhere, like we're going to specifically try to make like the heaviest album of our whole career. But I just don't think that's what they're going for. Like I said, they are about their light show and they're about having fun on stage. And like if you go see them, I bet they'll play one or two songs off this album. Everything else is greatest hits, and that's what it is every time they tour. It doesn't matter because that's what people want to see when they go to see them. They wanted to see the
And
songs
I'd love to
that
do
they
that.
know.
I'd love to see him.
Yeah, honestly, I definitely would say it's worth it. If anyone out there is watching this, you're a fan of Powerman like we are, like for sure. If you get the chance to see him, see him. I know that I looked and they are not coming to Nebraska this year, so But all right, we can let this video go, and we will catch you guys later. And we've got a couple other videos we're going to try to record now. Maybe some stuff that might be a little similar to this, maybe not. And we'll see you guys when Powerman 5000 releases their full album. Hopefully later this year, we will do a reaction. So
Yeah. Oh, wow. For sure.
unless my leukemia kills me before then.